Tonight, on Chilling Mysteries, we're diving deep into the shadows of history. These are the cases that never go away, the ones that keep detectives up at night and haunt the families who never got closure. These are the stories that leave us questioning, wondering, searching for answers that may never come. 5 cold cases. 5 lives stolen. 5 murders with no answers. Welcome to Cold Cases That Still Haunt. 5 unsolved murders with no answers. Let's begin with a story from the windswept plains of Oklahoma. It's 1977, and the summer air is thick with anticipation. At Camp Scott, a beloved Girl Scouts retreat, young girls gather for friendship and outdoor adventure. But what began as a summer of hope would soon turn into a nightmare that still chills the state to its core. On June 13th, 3 Girl Scouts, Lori Lee Farmer, age 8, Doris Denise Milner, age 10, and Michelle Hughes, age 9, were found brutally murdered in their tent. The camp counselors discovered the grisly scene early in the morning, their small bodies lying outside Tent 8, hidden in their sleeping bags. The killer had struck in the dead of night, moving through the camp undetected. There were no screams, no warning, just a sudden, devastating silence. The investigation was immediate and intense. Detectives combed through the dense woods, searching for clues. They found a flashlight at the scene, and a boot print nearby. There were even reports of strange noises and suspicious activity in the days leading up to the attack, including a counselor's report of a note warning that 3 girls would be killed. But no one could have imagined such horror was possible. A local man, Gene Leroy Hart, became the prime suspect. He had escaped from prison and was hiding in the area, with a history of violent crimes. After a massive manhunt, Hart was captured and brought to trial. But despite the prosecution's efforts, the evidence wasn't enough. Gene Leroy Hart was acquitted, and the murders of Lori, Doris, and Michelle remain officially unsolved to this day. To this day, the Girl Scout murders case casts a long shadow over Oklahoma. Parents hesitate before sending their children to summer camp. The woods around Camp Scott feel forever tainted. And every year, investigators revisit the evidence, searching for the one clue that could finally bring justice. But the killer has never been identified, and the families are left with nothing but memories and unanswered questions. Our second case takes us to the bustling streets of New York City. In the mid-1970s, fear gripped the city as a shadowy predator stalked young women on their way home from work. The victims were all attractive, intelligent, and ambitious. Their lives were just beginning, but each was cut short in a series of brutal, unsolved murders that became known as the Alphabet Murders. The first victim, Carmen Cullen, was just 10 years old when she disappeared in 1971. Her last known sighting was leaving a pharmacy in Rochester, New York. Her body was discovered 2 days later, discarded along a rural road. She had been raped and strangled. The brutality of the crime shocked the community, but it was only the beginning. Over the next 2 years, 2 more young girls, Wanda Wakovic and Michelle Maenza, were murdered in strikingly similar circumstances. All 3 victims had matching initials, CC, WW, MM. All were abducted, sexually assaulted, and killed. Their bodies were found along rural highways outside Rochester. Investigators theorized that the killer was taunting them, choosing girls whose first and last names shared initials, and dumping their bodies in towns with the same letters. The media dubbed the case the Alphabet Murders. The city was paralyzed by fear. Parents refused to let their children walk alone, and police questioned hundreds of suspects. Several men were investigated. One, Dennis Termini, committed suicide after police closed in. Another, Kenneth Bianchi, the infamous hillside strangler, was considered but eventually ruled out. The evidence was sparse. A few fibers, a partial palm print, and some eyewitness accounts of a strange car. But nothing conclusive. To this day, the Alphabet Murders remain one of New York's most notorious unsolved crimes. The killer's identity is still unknown. Families gather at memorials, placing flowers on the graves of their lost children, still hoping for answers. The city has changed, but the memory of those innocent lives lost and the fear their murders inspired has never faded. Our third case takes us across the Atlantic to the quiet English town of Bath. In 1967, Melanie Hall was a bright, promising young woman with her whole life ahead of her. She had recently graduated from university, started a new job, and was looking forward to the future. But on a warm June night, Her life was stolen in a moment of incomprehensible violence. Melanie was last seen at a nightclub with friends. She was in good spirits, dancing and laughing. But sometime after 1 a.m., she vanished. She was never seen alive again. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Her family and friends searched, posted flyers, pleaded for information. But there was nothing, no trace, no clues, just a gaping hole where Melanie had once been. 13 years later, in 2009, a construction worker made a grisly discovery on the side of the M5 motorway. Human remains, wrapped in black plastic, dumped like trash. Dental records confirmed the heartbreaking truth. It was Melanie Hall. The investigation reignited, as detectives scoured the area for evidence. The condition of the remains made it difficult to determine how she died, but it was clear she had been murdered. The police received hundreds of tips. Several suspects were questioned, including men with histories of violence against women. But no charges were ever filed. DNA evidence was recovered from the scene, but it has never matched a known suspect. The case remains open, files gathering dust in the hopes that one day, a breakthrough will come. Melanie's family has never stopped seeking justice. They hold annual vigils, speak to the media, and keep Melanie's memory alive. The pain of not knowing, of never seeing the person responsible brought to justice, is a wound that never heals. The question remains: who killed Melanie Hall, and why? Until that answer is found, her story will continue to haunt the city of Bath. Our fourth case brings us to the sun-drenched streets of Los Angeles in the 1940s, a city of dreams, but also of nightmares. On January 15, 1947, the mutilated body of 22-year-old Elizabeth Short was discovered in a vacant lot. Her face had been slashed from ear to ear, her body severed at the waist, drained of blood, and posed in a way that seemed designed to shock and terrify. Elizabeth became known to the world as the Black Dahlia, a nickname coined by the press for her striking dark hair and penchant for black clothing. The details of the crime scene were so gruesome that even hardened detectives were shaken. The city was gripped by hysteria, as the press sensationalized every rumor and the police chased hundreds of leads. Elizabeth's life was a study in contrasts. She came to Hollywood with dreams of stardom, but struggled to find work. She drifted from job to job, living on the edge of poverty. She was described as beautiful and enigmatic, with a mysterious air that only deepened after her death. Dozens of men and women came forward to confess to the crime, seeking attention or absolution. The police investigated doctors, actors, and even a bellhop who claimed he had information about the murder. But the evidence was thin, and the killer remained elusive. Over the decades, the case has spawned countless theories. Some believe Elizabeth was killed by a surgeon, due to the precision of the cuts. Others point to connections with Hollywood's seedy underbelly, organized crime, jealous lovers, and secret affairs. Books and documentaries have tried to crack the case, but the truth remains buried. The Black Dahlia murder stands as one of the most infamous unsolved crimes in American history. Elizabeth Short's face, frozen in black and white photographs, has become a symbol of lost innocence and Hollywood's dark side. Her killer has never been identified, and the case remains open at the LAPD, a haunting reminder that not every mystery finds a resolution. For our fifth and final case tonight, we travel to the rugged Pacific Northwest. It's 1971, and a man known only as D.B. Cooper boards Northwest Orient Flight 305 in Portland, Oregon. He's dressed in a suit, carrying a briefcase, and appears utterly unremarkable. But by the end of the night, he will become a legend, a phantom who vanished without a trace. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper hands a note to a flight attendant. He claims to have a bomb and demands $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck standing by in Seattle. The airline complies, fearing for the lives of the passengers and crew. After receiving the ransom, Cooper releases the passengers and instructs the pilots to fly south toward Mexico at low altitude. Somewhere over the dense forests of Washington, Cooper opens the rear stairway and parachutes into the rainy night. The FBI launches one of the largest manhunts in history. Planes, helicopters, and ground teams scour the landscape, but Cooper is nowhere to be found. The only evidence left behind is a black tie, a clip-on tie pin, and a few fingerprints. Over the years, theories abound. Was Cooper an experienced parachutist, or did he perish in the wilderness? Did he live out his days in obscurity, or did he die that night, money lost to the elements? In 1980, a young boy finds a decaying package of $20 bills buried in the sand along the Columbia River. Bills that match the serial numbers from the ransom. But Cooper himself is never found. The D.B. Cooper case remains the only unsolved skyjacking in American history. The FBI officially closed the case in 2016, but amateur sleuths, journalists, and adventurers still chase leads, hoping to uncover the truth. Cooper's fate is a tantalizing mystery, a puzzle with a missing piece that may never be found. These 5 cold cases share a dark common thread. Lives interrupted, families broken, and justice denied. The Girl Scout murders, the Alphabet murders, the disappearance of Melanie Hall, the Black Dahlia, and the legend of D.B. Cooper. Each one a chilling reminder that evil sometimes walks among us, and that not every story has a tidy ending. What drives someone to commit the perfect crime? Is it cunning, luck, or a failure of the system meant to protect us? For every solved case, there are dozens more that slip through the cracks, leaving only questions and whispers in the dark. If you're like me, you can't help but wonder about the truth behind these unsolved cases. Who was hiding in the woods at Camp Scott that night? Who stalked the streets of Rochester in search of young girls? Who took Melanie Hall's life, and why? Who left Elizabeth Short's body as a twisted message to the city? And what really happened to D.B. Cooper after he vanished into the storm? The answers may be lost to time. But here at Chilling Mysteries, we believe every story deserves to be told, every victim remembered, and every clue examined. Maybe, just maybe, someone out there knows the truth, and one day, these cold cases will finally be solved. If you found these stories as haunting as we do, don't forget to subscribe to Chilling Mysteries and hit the notification bell so you never miss a deep dive into the world's most chilling unsolved crimes. Share your theories and thoughts in the comments below. Who do you think is responsible for these haunting murders? And which cold case keeps you up at night? Thanks for joining us tonight. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and remember, some mysteries never sleep.